We're under attack by deadly tribbles on Film Threat Reviews. I'm Alan Ning. I'm with Zorianna Kit, and today we review Save Yourself. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below about what you thought of the movie. It's from Legion M, and it's about a young Brooklyn couple who heads to an upstate cabin to unplug from their phones and connect with each other. Blissfully unaware of their surroundings, they are left to their own devices as the planet falls under attack. It's written and directed by Fischer and Eleanor Wilson, and stars John Reynolds and Sunitra from Glow. This is a movie that on paper should have been a whole lot better than it was, in my opinion. What did you think of Save Yourselves?
I had a hard time getting into it at first. Yeah. I frankly, I was not into it. It didn't grab me, but once these little tribbles entered the picture of this invasion, they're called poofs in the film, then I was like, okay, so this is like a little bit of genre bending here. We have like some sci-fi end of the world stuff happening. This was just a bizarre, very quirky indie film that I don't think was made for me.
I don't like to know a lot about a movie before going in. I like to watch it fresh. And so for the first half of this movie, and literally it's the first half, it's the story of these two millennials, for the lack of a better term, having this weird relationship, and they're obsessed with their phones. And, and there's this idea that they're going to go off to the woods and disconnect, unplug. There's ramifications behind all that, but that's what they do in this movie. And then weird things happen in the background.
Yeah, weird things happen. Like there's an alien invasion, but we don't really know. These things are really cute. There's these giant puffballs that kind of remind me of the tribbles from Star Trek. Moral of the story is anything cute and puffy is likely to be a killer, because that's really what it is. I think ultimately what this film is about, it's sort of like some metaphor for millennials, right? Like how that generation is glued to their screen. They cannot put it down. And it takes an alien invasion or something to get them to be concerned outside of themselves, because everything they're doing in this film is selfish, for lack of a better word. Like it's about their phones. It's about them unplugging. It's about their relationship. It's like the whole, like everything's focused on me. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when they find out there's this invasion, they have to start thinking outside of themselves, and they're not quite prepared. They're ill-equipped to handle the real world, which is kind of the metaphor for our millennials of today, who are so technologically savvy, but they are ill-equipped for the outside world.
Like that first half, like I said, to me, it felt like it was a commentary on millennials and millennial relationships. Yeah, they're just kind of pointing out the quirky things millennials do. And then you have this invasion that kind of then blows that kind of out of the water there. It becomes, people who are ill-equipped to handle the apocalypse at this point. And I don't know necessarily that this is how millennials would do that. This is how they would choose to survive.
I don't know if they would choose to characterize themselves in this capacity also.
And so maybe, I at one point I had to take a step back and say, well, okay, maybe this movie is just about these two people, and that I'm supposed to be connected with them. And that was the difficult thing for me with this whole movie, is that whole idea on paper looks really good. It's just, I was not enthralled I wasn't really ingrained into that story or connected at all. And I just felt like from start to finish, every element was fairly bland.
I wasn't rooting for them. I wasn't rooting for them in what, I wasn't rooting for them to survive. I wasn't rooting for them to die. I wasn't rooting for them to get their SHIT together. I really was sort of watching this and wondering where it was going. And then the end ends up being completely bizarre.
Yeah, it's a very science fiction-y end. You know, when you say, you know, not root for them, you know, I know what you mean. You know, I rooted for them like I would for anyone who might die in a movie.
Who has to
Yeah, you know, it's like I don't want to see people die. What I felt about the characters in this movie is like I was watching my friends. And I say that in the sense of I don't necessarily want to watch movies about my friends. You know, you kind of want a heightened character, you know, something really compelling about these characters that makes you want to, that emotionally connects you with them, and then makes you want to, you have some investment in their survival at the end. And I just didn't feel it not only with the characters, but with the story itself. When you're not connected, you're just watching a story play out. And when the ending happens, it just plays out. To me, that was the best idea of the story. This idea that here are these millennials, they're disconnecting from life. They're, you know, they want to get into nature, discover each other, and learn something new. And while that's happening, the whole world around them is going to hell, and they don't even know it. To me, I feel like that they just didn't lean into that idea enough, because to me that's the movie. And that's the movie I really wanted to see at the end.
I'm with you, Alan. There's not much more I can say. I mean, I was impressed that for an indie film, they had some pretty cool effects. I thought that was good. I liked the actors. I thought the acting was decent. So for an indie film, it wasn't, the production value was actually pretty good. And the story, which was unique, could have been even more unique. Like the concept of it, like you said, on paper was interesting and unique, and they didn't lean into it enough. We were just not millennial enough, Alan, to actually create it.
You know, and I don't want to make it sound like we disdain millennials or look down upon them. It just seems like that's the direction the movie was going, and that's why I say it felt like they were making comments about millennials, but you know, I could definitely be wrong about that.
I think they were. I think it was a commentary, but it was nothing that I sparked to.
Okay, so seeing that you didn't really connect with the movie, you know, it was just it didn't the central theme or the central story just wasn't that interesting to you. I'm going to say you gave it a 5. Yeah,
I gave it a 5. And I don't like giving indie films a 5 because I know that, you know, there's so many constraints around indie films, and the fact that, you know, someone can actually bring one to fruition and put it on the screen is an amazing accomplishment. So I hate giving that low number. Yeah. I think you probably gave it a 4, maybe even. I think you connected with it even less.
Well, no, I liked it just a half a point more than you did. I gave it a 5.5.
Okay.
All right. So with that, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below about what you thought of Save Yourselves on the Film Threat YouTube channel. And with that, let's get out of here.